Okay, episode 6 of We Can't Code. Episode 6.
Whoop whoop. I think I'm doing it for every podcast now.
Woo woo! That'll just be Mike's thing from now on. Just
well,
a
you
good
do
whoop.
you do all the introduction, so it's like, what could I do?
If you want to jump in, you can take over this introduction.
I thought about it.
Go for it.
I know I'm gonna mess it up.
No, we're already starting. It's already been like 30 seconds. Just do it anyway.
All right, welcome to our podcast. We Can't Code, so we criticize. This is episode 6. My name is Michael, and with me, my co-host.
I'm Ben.
And right now, episode 6.
Yeah, so we can't code specifically games, so we criticize games.
Obviously, episode 6. If you don't know that now, if you've been actually watching us stuff, well, first, thank you, and then second of all, if you didn't know what we're still doing, then we're not doing our job well.
I don't think anyone thought we were doing our job well. Like
no.
We're getting there.
I think we're getting better every episode. I think we have some downs and ups, but overall, it still increases as better.
Mike, top-notch intro. Right there, bud.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought that was actually pretty good.
I liked it. All right, so, been playing anything this week?
Sadly, no. I've played, but not much, because sadly my girlfriend's parents are in town, and they're staying with us, so it's been...
end.
Well, it's been kind of hard to just play games, but yesterday last podcast, I did talk about a game that was coming out this week, and that was High Hell, and I picked that up actually right when it came out, and I beat it too as soon as I played it. It took
Short game.
Yeah, it took me about 86 minutes to beat it.
Oh my god, very short game.
Yeah, but it was $10, and it's actually a speedrun game, and where you do a certain amount of levels and you fight a boss, and then you do another certain amount of levels, fight a boss. I think there was maybe in total 4 bosses and a final one, so I think 5 tops. And yeah, it's a speedrun game. You only get one weapon throughout the whole entire game.
Okay.
And each level you can probably beat in a minute or two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was fun though. Just for it was actually a good quality game for $10, and for what it wanted to be, a simple speedrun game, it was good. The AI was kind of a little wonky in a ways where the enemies would be either super accurate or couldn't hit you for shit. So which was kind of interesting. And
so it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah, first-person shooter, speedrun, where it'll give you an objective to do something like destroy files, destroy a certain object, kill someone, and then there'll be side objectives too, to burn extra files, to burn evidence, to destroy things. And those are only side things, so you didn't have to do that. And as soon as you beat the level, you just jump off the building. Because they're usually on... yeah, exactly. They're usually on the top of skyscrapers, and then you just jump off the building and you just pull a parachute, and then you beat the level. And... it was actually a fun game, though. The graphics are kind of cubic style a bit, but its own kind of unique style. The enemies were pretty similar, but each had a different look to it.
Yeah, it's really rigid, but it's cartoony, almost like...
Yeah, I'll pull it up so you can see it too, Ben.
It's not as detailed as, Borderlands, but it has the same, heavy emphasis on edges and stuff, if that makes sense. And they don't really go a whole lot into, texture, but they do, shadows and stuff.
Yeah, they do an effort to blackline everything so they really pop.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it was actually... I enjoyed it. If you look over here, you'll see, this has only been the bitch boss to fight, was a robot. There's this giant robot you have to face, and just his mechanic, because he can easily just kill you so easily, but he was also easy to beat as well. Because what you had to do is that when he shot his major beam at you, you had to shoot him in the eye.
Spoilers.
Oh, yeah, please, it's a 30-minute game. You get an achievement for beating it under 30 minutes.
No.
No joke. And so you shoot him in the eye, then you have to shoot his backpack, which was where his batteries were at. And the issue I had with it is that it was kind of glitchy on when he would actually shoot at you, because he was actually faster than you too. So if you walked up to you, he would just stomp at you, and it would just take half your health. So if he stomped you twice, you're dead.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he was actually the only hard boss to beat. But every boss, though, you can beat in under 2 minutes or so, because each had a unique way of beating them, though. But you can kill them fast. And that's actually why I really enjoyed it. The boss fights were actually unique and fun to do, but they're fast as well, which actually kind of caught me off guard.
Huh.
The only, the robot was hard, but technically fair. The only one that wasn't really a good design for a speedrun was the demonic goats head people. And why they're not really fair for a speedrun was that you only can kill each one in a certain pattern, and that pattern changed on you. So like you only can kill one at a time, and after you kill them, you have to find out who you can kill next. And that was my only issues with that one for a speed run. And yeah, they also had cute loading screens where you can just shoot a bunch of basketballs and bodies and hoop, or make monkeys dance. It was very cute.
I didn't notice this. These are the guys. What's the name of the company there? It's
Terra Velleman and DOS 1.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just looking at the summary. These guys made Heavy Bullets, which is... Well, you're going to jump away from the screen when I'm going to start reading it. Heavy Bullets, it's a pretty good indie game. Enter the Gungeon, I think most people have heard of.
I did not notice that.
And Gang Beasts, which is like a huge co-op game that a lot of people really enjoy. Like those are some pretty impressive titles. I'm surprised because when you mentioned this last week, like it looks like an okay game, but
yeah,
I didn't think they had such a like that name carries some weight these days. I mean, who hasn't heard of Enter the Gungeon? If you like indie games, obviously.
Yeah, and honestly, like this game caught me off guard because like I actually had a fun time. It was quick, but once again, it's a speedrun game. And at the end, there's a leaderboard where you see, where you're placed. And I was placed when I was done like in 17th on Steam. And yeah, it was just a good game for just $10, and it was what it is. And the sad thing is that I kind of give this game like a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah. And I gave freaking Evil Within a 5. And it caught me off guard. I didn't think the game was going to be that good because, like, once again, like a 6 out of 5 in my opinion for my ratings is like, it's a game that succeeded what it wanted it to be, but you won't miss anything if you don't pick up this game. But it actually completes what it wants to be, It actually is what you're going to get. So if you want a speedrun game and you want a simple one to play for just $10, I say pick it up.
Yeah. No,
so
I mean,
that's why it's a 6.5 because there's still some flaws in the game. Mm-hmm. But overall it was good.
I think you and I have a similar rating score. Is like between a 0 and a 10. If you give a game a 5, that means that whatever they were trying to accomplish by making this game, they accomplished it. If they're trying to make a fun speedrun game in this case, they accomplished it. Anything above a 5 is them going above and beyond, either like with an aesthetic style that really works, or...
And for that, I gave them an extra point because of the boss fights. The boss fights were very unique and fun. Like, I actually caught me guard when I fought the second boss. The first boss was really funny because, like, kill this boss. And all I had to do was jump on a box, shoot him, and jump off the building. I literally beat it in, like, a minute. Not even a minute, like 30 seconds. It was really cute and funny.
Damn.
The second bosses, though, after him, though, were all very unique ways where you couldn't kill them unless you did a certain thing. But it didn't take long to do it, though. It would take, like, a split second to do it. But you had to figure it out, which was fun. The final boss was also just really cool, too, where I thought it was I'm supposed to keep on shooting it. But I don't want to give away spoilers because of it was a very unique design. In the end, it was like, I actually had to do this and this in a specific order, and then I can kill him instantly, which was pretty cool. Well, like, I continue the progress of bringing down his health, in a way. You don't kill him instantly.
Okay.
But yeah, it caught me off guard, and it was fun. I'm not much of a speedrunner, so I'm not going to be there's not much replay for me, but for other people who just want to challenge other people in the speedrun and stuff, it's definitely a good game.
Yeah, so that's Mike describing the game High Hell, and you're giving it a conclusive 6.5. Yeah, okay.
And then I also played a little bit of Fury. I only got to the second boss, well, technically first boss, because the first one's a tutorial, and it is fun, and I'm having issues with the parry. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it's kind of like janky a bit, but maybe it's because I'm still getting used to the game.
You mentioned this before we started the podcast a couple days ago, and I think that's the case because there's a boss you're going to come across that parry is an absolute necessity.
Gotcha.
And so you just kind of have to learn like when to use it.
I just feel like it's for me. I think the only issue I have with it is that the parry is not really that responsive, or it's hard to notice when you're doing it. So it's hard to tell like if I'm doing it too fast or too slow because there's not a good notification for it.
The enemies have like this shine or glimmer that they have whenever they attack, and you just hit it right then.
Yeah, like in Cuphead, it's pink. You see the pink, and that's when you parry. With this, like you said, it's a shine, and usually it's only a melee attack most of the time. And yeah, that I noticed, but I just don't notice it when I'm parrying. So when I hit it, I can't see how fast my guy's doing it and how long it stays active.
It stays active for like a quarter of a second.
Mm-hmm.
Although so someone actually told me this. I streamed the game and someone was giving me some insider tips. You can parry most ranged attacks too.
I noticed that once when I was doing the Turi boss, but I don't know if that was if I hit it back or not. So you can actually parry ranged attacks too.
Yeah, and that becomes super important with another boss.
That's good to know. Because so far I enjoy it. I enjoy the aesthetics. I enjoy the story so far, like just the background story that it gives you. And everything else is pretty good though. And so I'm definitely going to be finishing the game though.
Yeah, speaking about games that, like they have a clear objective and they accomplish what they set out to do. I played Fury a while ago, and I thought it was great. Like, it's just a boss rush game, and, that's...
I've been kind of enjoying those. Just those simple games where you can just pick up, play, and if you're done, you can just put it down and pick up later.
Yeah, like, there's more to the story if you look into it, but realistically, I mean,
you game... just fight bosses.
Yeah, between each boss, you can auto-walk. Like, you don't even have to walk
from one boss
to the other. Which I did right away,
because you don't walk faster if you control it. And it's actually just better for auto walk, so it actually looks more cinematic.
Yeah,
it's better because then you will mess up because the camera changes a bit. But yeah. Oh, and that's one issue I had with the first boss I'm in right now is the camera control, because sometimes it puts you in a weird position where I wish I could have turned the camera a bit. But it's not like game ruining or anything. It's just a small little nitpick.
Well, I'm not going to ask you to give a score on that one.
No, exactly. I can't give the score at all because I just started, so it won't be fair.
But I'm interested to hear what you think about it.
So far I'm enjoying it. The only complaint was just the pairing, but I think I just needing to get used to the game. Like I only played like 2 times now.
Yeah.
It's only I couldn't get much into it just with my girlfriend's parents around.
Maybe your controller's a little sticky, bud.
I think so. I switched controllers a bit and gave that a try too. So I want to just for me to get. It's hard for me to focus with just having guest over right now.
Sure. Okay.
And then just another side note too is that like Dead by Daylight got a release this week. Then an update, and they actually have now Freddy from Freddy Krueger now as a playable character. They call him the Nightmare.
Yeah.
But it's pretty sweet that you can actually play him.
Huh.
And like how he works is that the characters cannot see him at all unless he pulls them into the dream world. So he actually has to pull characters in the dream world, and then that's where they actually can see him. He can actually attack them then too. It's actually pretty cool design.
That's an interesting mechanic.
Because it changes the whole gameplay completely.
Yeah. There's only one other game that I thought really did that, and I don't want to go too off on a tangent, but
no, that's fine.
Do you remember the game Dungeon Defenders?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was such a good game. Like I loved it too, but you were just like you dove into that one.
It's a third-person tower defense game, but what they did is they incorporated so what you do is you set up turrets, and if you've ever played a tower defense, like it's just planning on like where the enemies are going to come from. Well, one character, he went into this like ethereal mode, and then you looked at the map from a eagle's eye view, like up,
an
down.
RTS, a real-time strategy game.
Yeah, he turned the game into an RTS. You could command units, and instead of towers, you got guys to move around.
Yeah, I thought that was so. Yeah,
and that was just like a super interesting idea.
And that's exactly what Freddy's like too. It's just a whole new way of playing the game.
Yeah, I always thought that was just like ingenious.
Yeah, exactly. And another game that reminds me of like a first person that did that was Battlefield Bad Company 2 when they had a DLC where it brought you into Vietnam time.
Yeah.
That was my top favorite DLC.
That DLC got
everyone loved that DLC. It was so good because everything was actually, they made all the vehicles bounce again, except for the helicopters. The helicopter became so weak where you can just shoot them down with a pistol. It was pretty funny because I did that once.
Damn.
But it was just a really overall a super balanced DLC and just a complete change to the game.
Shooting down helicopters based on real life events. I'm sure it would be funny if they were like looking through old Vietnam, like a timeline or something, and they're like, holy shit, a motherfucker did actually shoot down a helicopter with a pistol. We gotta add it into the game now as a feature.
Yeah, I laughed about that when they said like, oh, we're doing that for Battlefield World War One. It's like, oh yeah, these were actual things used in World War One. I'm like, yeah, no. Some of the stuff they put in were just like stupid.
Yeah, Battlefield 1, it was all So I didn't play the game, but I remember that they were saying that a lot of the weapons were like theoretical and were never applied, but they were like they exist.
There was just their way to put quick scopes and like reflex scopes in the game. Like that's just way to be a bunch of pansies. Just give them the weapons they had back then. That'd been just as fine.
Either way, I mean the game turned out good.
No, yeah.
It's one of those things like if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Basically,
I never heard anyone complain about BF1.
No, yeah, and so yeah, that was just what I did over the week. Not much, but got enough to talk about. What about you? What have you been playing?
It's still good. Started off the week playing some PUBG with the boys.
Nice.
As usual, you know. It's becoming a weekly thing now. I
actually walked in once in a round. You guys landed, ran to a school. You died right off the... Well, no, actually, Sam died, and then you just died.
Yeah, the school fucking sucks. Whenever we're having a really shitty day, we'll always end with 1 or 2 matches at the school, because we never fucking win. Everyone always wants to go to the school.
Yep. I just like that, too, when I watched you start landing. You looked up, there's like 6 other people just landing at the school, too. I was like, oh, boy, this is going to be a shit show.
Yeah, no, it's rough as all hell. But I typically have got a story to tell about PUBG, but honestly, the last couple days, they've just been, like, pretty mediocre. Like, we've come close to winning a couple times, but there's nothing that stands out like it normally does.
Well, next week, though, I'm planning on picking up PUBG after the parents leave. I'm thinking about picking up like Tuesday and playing on Wednesday.
God, please do. We've got 3, and we always get stuck with a random for 4 people. They don't do teams of 3. They do teams of 1, 2, and 4.
You think they would just do that? Because I think a lot of people would do that as well.
They did initially, and then they got rid of it. I don't know why.
That's so stupid. Yeah. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like,
why are you so stupid? Sorry. Go write him a letter. Why are you so stupid?
It just seems like a silly thing just to take out because they obviously have like one of the highest player counts out there, so it's not like he's going to cut down their player count.
Yeah, I'm sure that they had some reasoning for it, so I'm not willing to.
Yeah, they hate even numbers.
You mean odd numbers?
Odd numbers. Shit, I can do math.
Welcome to 2nd grade, Mike.
Fuck.
Is 3 an even or an odd number?
Oh, well, if you split, if you get into the fractions, yeah, it is.
Getting into imaginary numbers. No, okay. Okay, so PUBG, same old with the boys. Nothing there. Then I picked up Mario Odyssey 2 days ago.
How's that? Actually, you told me a little bit about it, and it seems like you're like...
It's good. I like it. It's definitely... It's... The biggest thing with Mario, and just with games that have such high anticipation, is you have to keep your... You have to keep your anticipation in check, because when, like, IGN releases a perfect 10 out of 10, and, I don't know, there was, like, a dozen or 24 other companies that released a perfect 10 out of 10. Like, that bothers me, I guess, because they're essentially saying there's no way that they could possibly improve this game. It is the best it's going to ever be. And that's really hard for me to swallow. As Mike and I were talking about how, like, 5 out of 10 means that they met their criteria that they wanted to accomplish for the game, and then anything above that is just icing on the cake. Like,
basically, yeah. Because if you just give everything 10 out of 10, then it doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, and so, like, I really appreciate IGN as a review. Like, I think that they were one of the best review companies there. I don't agree with their final score, but I think that they do a pretty good in-depth analysis.
Okay, just their fun. I did hear just from random people also talking and all that stuff. This is not obviously not concrete. Is that in the end, a lot of times like IGN just like they take the review, they keep that the same, but they always change the score in the end to make it better though. Like the company, this like not the journalist who are running it, just the main corporation changes the final score.
That makes sense. I mean, like, I kind of laugh about Game Informer these days because, I mean, try to find a score in Game Informer that's under a 7. Like,
exactly.
Like, they're the worst offenders of this, but I can understand, like, if someone gives the game that you like a bad score, you're gonna lose customers. Like, regardless of your pros and cons, people really do care about that final end score.
Which I think is silly, because it's just someone's opinion in the end. And I think the problem with these companies, though, is that they have too many journalists. And you can't really figure out like what their type of game is, because you really have to just like see it from their point of view and what games they actually like to fully understand those scores as well.
Yeah, well, that YouTuber Donkey did a video that was similar to that. He talks about how like you know, there's so many people in these large companies, and it like you have to really kind of track down who likes what to get a proper understanding of like, oh, this guy likes anime RPGs. Like if I wanted to know how good Persona 5 is, I should specifically look for his review rather than anyone else's.
Because a lot of times, like, anime does have a huge stigma on it where it's not going to be really popular in the end, and it won't be given the right grade just because of that alone, which is sad.
Yeah.
Even though, actually, I don't care for much for those games either, but that's...
Fuck those games, by the way.
Doesn't mean they're bad, though. It just means they're just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, and so I agree with that, is that it's, you know, all these reviews, to come full circle here, Mario Odyssey, like, it's tough because, you know, when I hear a game can't possibly be improved, I immediately start getting weary about it, because that's a pretty big cup of water to drink. Like, it's a lot to take in, and I've been really excited for Mario Odyssey. So I started playing yesterday, and I've only gotten a couple hours in. So I've got through the tutorial. I've got through the first 2 worlds.
How long was the tutorial?
45 minutes.
Was it actually a good tutorial, or was it kind of pointless?
No, it was fun. I mean, like, when you first learn the hat mechanics, it's like, I was like blown away. I was like, oh my god, I'm a Goomba, or, you know, whatever. Like, I don't want to...
That is a pretty cool thing.
It's a super cool mechanic. I don't want to make it sound like I'm setting up for disappointment here. I think the game did go above and beyond what people were expecting of it. To say a perfect 10 out of 10, maybe not so much. I'll disagree there. But, I mean, there's still plenty of the game to uncover. And from what I've seen so far, it is really fun. But yeah, like, I only started out this by saying that I'm skeptical naturally, because it's just like, I always...
It's hype, you know? You can't just eat the hype because it'll just ruin it, put your expectations too high.
Yeah, exactly. And when someone says a 10 out of 10 score, like, you don't gain anything from that review.
No,
when they don't tell you what the issues are, then you're just... It's a circle jerk of a review. It's just like, buy this game, it's great. And everyone says, oh, that game's great. And everyone else says, oh, that game is great. Like...
That didn't tell you shit.
Yeah, it doesn't inform you what was good or bad about it. Like, there's always ways to improve. And so, although I'm really, really enjoying like, I'm thinking about Mario Odyssey right now. As we're like going to be doing the next hour and a half or whatever of this podcast, I'm going to be thinking like, fuck, let's finish this up so I can play the next Mario Odyssey. That's a good feature.
That's a good review right there. You actually want to play it again.
Yeah, but at the same time too, like, we'll see. Like, obviously, I'm starting out, but to give a perfect score, I don't think that there's too many of those that come around too often in a lifetime.
And I don't think we'll ever get a perfect score that everyone can agree on, because everyone has different tastes. It's the same thing with movies and shows and all that stuff. What you will like, someone will not like.
Yeah.
And to try to say, like, oh, this is the best game ever is basically physically impossible. So then, before we keep on going too much on this tangent again... So you played Mario Odyssey, PUBG. Anything else you got in?
Well, okay, so those are the games, but you and I promised that we were going to watch some videos this week.
Yes, we did. And we got to at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I was wondering where you wanted to slide this part into the segment. But yeah, so perfect. Yeah, so we watched 2 movies, Vampires, which was starred with James Wood
in 1999,
and The Void. And so
let's start with Vampires.
No, exactly. See, no, I enjoy Vampires. It's one of my it's like a cult classic for me. I enjoy it a lot.
I'm gonna make fun of you.
That's totally fine. What do you think of the movie? I'm really excited to hear your opinions on this movie.
I thought James Woods likes to wear his jeans high up on his fucking pant. Like, I was curious. I was watching the video and I was like, hey James Woods, nice jeans. Why do you wear them up to your tits, bro? I don't know. It's tough, man.
So, like, overall, did you like the movie?
It was entertaining, yeah. It was, like, I didn't go into it thinking, like, ooh, it's spooky, scary.
Yeah.
But...
No, it's not spooky or scary at all.
I mean, we're talking about horror films, and so, like, I kind of had my defenses raised up a little bit when we started. I was like, all right, don't look away from the screen if Mike's in the same room with you. Like, you're a man. You watch the movie, like... And then fucking, like, the first scene is them, like, banging a bunch of dirty hookers in a hotel room. It's just like, God fucking damn it.
They were chubby prostitutes, alright?
Some chunky prostitutes. Yeah, No, it's definitely more of an action film. Yeah. I don't know why I thought anything otherwise. It's got like I haven't seen a lot of James Woods movies.
I haven't either. Just honestly, it's the only one I really know.
The only one I've seen is Videodrone. I don't watch Videodrone.
I don't think I've watched that one either.
It's pretty fucked. It's one of those. People refer to it as a mindfuck movie. It's wild as all.
Those are kind of void, honestly.
Yeah.
They just get too out of there.
Alright, so vampires, it's crazy to me to think that this movie came out around the same time, like 1999. I mean, there were some pretty revolutionary movies that came out then. The Matrix came out in 1999. Like, when you think that vampires and The Matrix came out in the same year, they look like they're fucking like 10 or 15 years apart. Fight Club came out in 1999. Like, that's crazy to me that you can even relate The Matrix and Fight Club to vampires. I understand it's a nostalgic thing for you, so I don't want to berate you too hard.
Go for it. I don't care. It's your opinion. I still enjoy the movie, and I know it's not the best out there, but for some reason, I enjoy it as a vampire movie. I don't know why, but I enjoy the characters in it are just over the top funny. The action scenes are pretty funny too, and good to watch. And I just kind of like it too because the theme of they're just like, I like the theme of them being just bounty hunters for vampires that are under the church. It's like a cool story for me. I like the overall story of it.
I like that they're like 90s badasses.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay, to describe the plot, we've been talking about it for like a couple minutes here. We may as well start from the plot. So, it's a bunch of these bounty hunters, essentially.
They're hired by the church.
Yeah, they're hired by the church, but instead of hunting people, they hunt vampires. And it's like a group of guys, they've got like an armored van, and they've got all these weapons and stuff.
And they're basically like Dog the Bounty Hunter kind of characters. You know, they're not like all professional like that. They're just a bunch of alcoholics almost, it seems like.
Yeah, like they're like rough and gruff, and they'll
some
just
like are overweight.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, Mike, if what you said a second ago was exactly or something that you told me before I started watching the movie, how like, oh, it's a fun movie, you know, it's kind of over the top action. Like, I'm sure I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Okay, yeah.
From the cover and from everything, I mean, the cover's like a blood red dawn sun and like their shadows and they're all holding guns. I'm like,
yep,
this is gonna be an intense movie. It was not, but so like. Yeah, it's I enjoyed it for sure, but when I like the first two scenes, I mean Mike was watching right next to me. Like how many comments did I have to say like
like you had like 6 or 10. It was great.
I was very skeptical.
And that was like once again I came in knowing that he was probably not gonna like it and he's gonna make fun of it, but yeah, it's just a good movie to just sit down to drink with a couple of people and just watch.
Yeah, so I don't not recommend it.
Yeah, it's
a double negative.
It's a great movie to watch with friends.
Yeah, just know that you just know what to expect when you go into it. It's not one of those movies that's like, hey, don't look at the trailer before you see this movie. Like some movies should be a total surprise. This movie,
you know what you're getting in right when the movie starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great because it just doesn't. I feel like it doesn't pretend to be anything else but this type of movie.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Vampires, yes. 1999, starring James Woods and the dirty cop from Batman: The Dark Knight is also in it.
Yeah, it's got great cameos in it.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty wild. But or no, not from Dark Knight, but from Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And then the other movie that we watched, which I think Mike and I both agree was awesome.
It was so good.
The first time either of us have seen it.
I heard about it nonstop, and I've been trying to find a good time to watch it with you because people were saying it was what Silent Hills should have been like. And I'm like, this is a perfect movie to watch with Ben.
It is awesome. The movie is called The Void, and if you haven't seen it, it is like on Event Horizon levels of just like badassery.
Yeah.
And also like grotesque too in certain ways. I mean,
the creatures are just well designed too, especially just the gory scenes are so good.
Yeah, some of them they're like very like the first couple things you see are like very clearly costumes, but it didn't really take away too much. Like the movement was like awkward and weird enough that it still felt like a little disturbing and whatnot. And I mean, did it hit theaters? I don't remember seeing it.
No, it didn't. It never hit theaters. It hit,
was it I'm gonna look it up. Maybe it was an international movie or something.
Yeah, it was. It hit like those film fests. Okay. That's where it hit first. Because there are some film people I watch that go to them, and on YouTube, the film people I watch on YouTube, and it was on there, and that's where I heard the review, and it's on Netflix right now. The thing that's kind of funny is that it has 2 different year dates. It has the 2017 and 2016. That's actually the same movie if you look this up, by the way.
Yeah, we could not figure out what the difference was between these 2 movies. The only thing that we had heard is that it's the one that is based in the hospital, and that was all we had to go on. We're still not 100% concrete on this, but we did decide that maybe it was like where they released around the world, that in some places it was 2016 and other places maybe it was 2017.
Yeah.
We're not sure about that, but we were like we were really excited for this movie when we first started, and we're like, I don't want to get 30 minutes into this movie and realize it's the shit one.
Yeah, because didn't you see like one review that said it was like one of them was like really bad?
Yeah, okay. So there's another movie called The Void. I guess it's like multiple things. It's like the movie VHS. Like it has multiple stories to tell in the movie, but I guess it's just dog shit.
Yeah. So yeah, this one, and like the basis of this movie is like a cult monster movie. And I thought this was like a perfect movie for Ben to, after he went over in the last podcast like what movies he enjoyed, and it was just like the creepy psychedelic movies, and then like also Cole was like, oh, we have to watch The Void now, because that's what I told was like. And like my best description of it though is Silent Hill type. It was so good, and I love to talk about it, but it's one of those movies that even I don't want to spoil it for anyone else, though.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything about it. I mean, the fact that we already said it was in a hospital, like, I was even cautious about saying that, but I think that that's okay.
Yeah.
The movie is distributed by D Films in Canada. So I assume that the origin is in Canada. Oh, wait, right here. Okay. Release date, September 22nd, 2016. In Fantastic Fest, and then it had a Canadian release in April 7th, 2017.
Okay, so that's why there's 2 dates.
I bet that that's the case.
And honestly, so the only thing we can really say is that you have to watch this movie. It's on Netflix right now.
It's so good.
It's fantastic.
Like, and once again, with overhyping, I don't want to talk too much about it.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, if you're looking for just like a good horror flick, like, don't look too much into it. Yeah. This movie's great.
Yeah, I say just put it on Netflix and give it a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just like I said, I think we should just end that there because I don't want to overhype it. So we're going to move over to our top 5 then?
Yeah, that sounds good. I got nothing else to talk about there.
Yeah, because it's such a good movie. I like it. So our top 5 this year was, not this year, this week is, just because it's like this is the Halloween week, we decided to do top 5 scariest moment in games that you experience. It doesn't matter if the game was shit, doesn't matter if the game was like 10 out of 10, even though that's physically impossible to really be 10 out of 10, like we just discussed. It just like, it doesn't matter how good the game was. It was just a game that scared you and it stuck with you.
Yeah.
And I think you started last time?
You can go first, that's fine.
Okay, so I'm going to start this time. And so we're going to start from obviously we're going to start from the bottom and go up. My number 5 is Dead Space. And Dead Space, it was the scene when you first run to the exploding babies. And so Dead Space is...
I haven't played the game, but that sounds horrible.
Okay, so to give a big example of just what Dead Space is, Dead Space is you're fighting creatures that were transmuted from humans. So they're mutated humans. And then you're on a space station, and obviously in a space station there's going to be which had basic, like, civilization on it.
Obviously people are going to fuck on the space
station,
so there's babies.
There's going to be a baby nursery. And so the first time you get into the nursery, you just see this one woman just calling to this baby that's been mutated, and she's just like, oh, just come here, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And next thing you see the baby just screech and just blow her up, and the whole glass, because she's in a baby nursery and you're behind this glass, just covers the whole wall in blood. And it just, it was so good, and it just stuck to me, because then you start actually running into them, and it's just so fucking creepy.
Damn.
And what's better too is that if they get onto you, you can shake them off and you can fucking punt them.
Oh my god.
You can punt mutated babies. But yeah, that scene just really stuck with me.
God damn. It's visceral. Rest in peace.
I still remember it. And yeah, I'm so sad they're gone because they made some great scenes. And it was so good. My number 4 is actually, I'm surprised I actually made the list, is Evil Within. And I talked about this scene in the last podcast. There's a scene when you're in a mansion, and while you're in this mansion, the main protagonist chases you. And he doesn't really chase you. He just slowly walks behind you, and he does kind of like teleport closer to you. And there's this one scene when I thought, like, when I first experienced, like, oh, I can actually hide from him too. So right when the mode started, him following me because things get a little bit dimmer, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go hide. And so I bust into this room, and then I'm like, there's already like this creature. I'm like, fuck, don't see me. And so I get under this bed. I'm like, okay, the creature didn't see me. I should be safe. And next you know, like, I have a perfect vision of the door, and there's just this knock on the door of him banging on it. It's like, doof, doof. I'm like, all right, he's gonna walk in here and still not see me. He busts through the door, and the first thing he does is just turn and look straight at me for like 3 seconds, like, fuck.
In the bad guy's head, he's like, motherfucker, the first place I was gonna check is under the bed.
Because, like, he's looking straight at you as you look right at him, and he just stayed in the doorway. And, like, that still stuck with me today. The funnier part, though, is it kind of diminished right afterwards, because he got stuck in the doorway because the enemy that was in the room was trying to walk out, and they got stuck on each other. It kind of almost added on to too, because then he was just standing there looking at me, but then, like, right next to him is, like, a creature's trying to walk past him.
This is very off-putting. I don't know how I feel.
But yeah, that's my number 4.
He saw you, he tried to get to you, but someone was in the way, he's like, fuck it.
Basically, he just disappeared. It was so good, though, but that one definitely stuck with me. And then for number 3 is BioShock, the first one, and it's where you pick up the shotgun for the first time. Because when you pick up the shotgun the first time, all the lights around you go out, and so you only have this circle of light that you're in the middle of, and all of a sudden you hear a bunch of splicers just running around at you, and you can sort of see them scrape the ground, and then it actually starts sending out flickers of light. And it's so creepy because it's your first time with a shotgun, so you don't fully know how to use it. And then they just randomly just charge into the light at you, try to swing at you. And then they just swing and then just run right out back in the shadow. And you had to go into the whole entire fight scene so you kill them all. It was just a perfectly intense scene and so creepy.
Huh.
And that's why I really enjoyed it, because it's like you're with this, weapon you never used before, and you're already surrounded by a bunch of splicers. And then just like, I actually don't even know how many there are because it's so fucking creepy. Because they're always in the shadow and they pop at you. And so that's why I really enjoyed it. There's been a couple times where I try to shoot into the darkness to hopefully I hit them too. It was just and that one also just stuck with me too. And it's like one of my favorite ones. But yeah, so those are my bottom 3. What are your bottom 3?
Yeah, so I'll run through my list, starting at 5 being the lowest and 1 being the number 1.
Yeah.
So 5. Well, first I want to say that my top 5 here, every single one of them has forced me to quit the game, except for the 5th one.
Really?
So that's kind of the progression I'm going to show here. Is like, typically I like to go into a bit more explanation with these, but this is a very specific thing of just like scariest moment.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you can't possibly say like, oh, I liked it because of the setting or anything. Yeah. It's just like, what made you piss your pants the most?
Basically.
So my 5th one, which made the list because I should have turned off the game, but I didn't.
You fought through it.
Well, it was so. Number 5 is Laura from PT. I mentioned her before.
Oh yeah.
And this is the Silent Hills demo that you could play before it was taken down and the game was canceled.
Sad.
But there's this scene where you're listening to the radio, and if you zoom in on the radio cuts out and then cuts back in, and it says just like, look behind you, and you look behind, and she's like, a cutscene occurs, like you can't move or anything, and she's just like right in your face, like it takes up the whole screen, like this girl, she's like rotting dead corpse, like
mm-hmm.
black eyes, whatever, and it's horrifying, and she just like kills you. The only reason I didn't turn off the game when I played that is, Mike, I think this might have been at your house.
Yeah.
But you had PT, and you were playing through it, and I didn't have a PlayStation at the time or something.
It was a PS4, and I had the PS4.
Yeah.
So I can download it.
Yeah, I didn't have one yet. And so Mike invited me over to play PT, and he'd played a little bit of it, but he was like, yeah, Ben, let's try it out. So the first thing that I did in the game was encounter that, and like I was scared, but it was like you have to like build up the suspense for it. The place that Mike had stopped and saved was like a minute before the scariest thing in the game, before the scariest part in the demo occurred. So I was scared, and I was like so shooken up, but I was like so out of the moment. I wasn't like in. Like, how often does a movie or a game start that the scariest thing that could possibly occur in the game happens, like, immediately, you know? Like, so, it was like, so much, and I didn't comprehend how scary it was, but it stuck with me. But that's the only reason I didn't turn off the game, is because I wasn't gonna play a minute of it, and then be like, okay, I'm done, you know?
So good.
So, like, I should have turned it off when that happened, but I did fight through. In any other situation, though, no, I would have put down the controller and just been like, I'm out. Just fuck this game, fuck everything about this Silent Hill, I'm out. So that's my number 5, is just like, it didn't force me to quit, because I was just like, not expecting it. You know, it was just straight up like, it's like playing any game for the first time. You have to understand the mechanics and how it works. I picked up the controller and then immediately just like, Aah! And I was like, fucking what is going on? So that was my number 5. My number 4, starting with now officially, like games that I just turned off. Just, you know, after it happened, I was like, no, just no. I'm gonna go eat mac and cheese and like watch SpongeBob. Story of my life. No. So number 4 is BioShock as well.
Nice.
But not shotgun, as Mike did the shotgun. Mine is actually the opening scene of BioShock, where you start out and there's this plane crash and you swim to this tower, and the tower takes you like down in this little
you're like
vessel.
in a personal submarine, yeah.
Yeah.
And that takes you to Atlantis, the underwater city.
So when you first get into the city, Rapture,
thank you. Yeah.
When you first get into Rapture, like there's an issue with your like individual submarine elevator thing like opening, and so you've got to do like a manual override in your little like small 1-room vessel. So while you're doing that, there's a big window out in the front, and there's this guy. And this is like before you know anything about what happened.
Yeah, you don't even know Rapture at all.
Yeah, this is the first instance of like, oh, by the way, this is a horror game, you know? So, so you start out and there's a guy, and he's crazy, obviously. You know, he's got like a blade or something, but he's a splicer. And, so he's like, you can't see him because he's in the shadow, but you can see him moving. He's like, hello? Is someone there? You've come to me, or something. And,
yeah.
And, like, he screams, he jumps on the vessel, and if you look around, you can see the vessel, like, getting ripped apart in areas, and, like, he's, you know, bending metal and trying to get to you, and then he gives up after a bit.
Yeah.
Because obviously the game's not just gonna, like, kill you right on the bat. But, no, I remember when I first played that, I was like, no, this game isn't for me. I've made a huge mistake. In fact, when I played BioShock, this is when I was naive, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to make scary games as scary as possible. And I still, to an extent, believe that should be the case. If you're gonna play a horror game, you know, lights off, you know, like,
oh, for sure.
The thing about it is you have to be able to finish the game, you know, and that was my shortcoming, is I never actually finished BioShock.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got, I couldn't even tell you, honestly. I don't think I got to, like... I know people are saying, like, the dentist is a really scary scene.
He's good. Like, he's a great character, and his area is very well put together.
Yeah.
See, the thing for me is that everyone says BioShock is a scary game. I am out in the loop. I never really thought it was more... I thought it was more of an action game than actually a horror game, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I felt like the Doctor was really good. Like, he was a really well-designed character and super creepy.
Yeah, like, I can't remember. I think I might have gotten to the Doctor.
Yeah, he's the plastic surgeon, actually.
Mm-hmm.
He's a plastic surgeon.
Honestly, I can't remember. And the reasoning for that is, 1, I played it years ago when it first came out. But 2, is that I was pissing my pants the whole time. Like... I didn't want to hear the story. Like, I was... And this is what I mean, I was naive then. Is, like, I made myself so scared that it was just... Where's the objective? I'm going straight there. And, like, I didn't bother with anything else. And it's even with just... ignoring everything about the game, like I still don't know what it's about for the most part. Even with ignoring everything about the game, I wasn't able to finish. I was still just
really
atmospherically. I was really still too scared.
And yeah, I absolutely enjoyed and loved it. I like the twist at the end and stuff, like the overarching story, like the climax of actually you find out what things are going on.
I mean, I've heard it all now.
Okay, so. Yeah, the plastic surgeon, he was one of them, and I also love the artist or the performer. He was like an artist and a performer. Those are my two favorite people.
Yeah.
Over like the theme areas, because usually every area is themed over a certain character. Like these bosses are kind of like bullet sponged splicers, but yeah, each of them has a unique area that's theirs. And I always I enjoyed the artist was actually my favorite one, just the way how he designed everything. But yeah, so that was your number.
That was my number 4.
Number 4. Nice.
Yeah. And so I mean, BioShock Remastered, they came out and they gave anyone that had the original versions of BioShock, you get the remastered for free. So
it doesn't run though well at all on PCs. Like I can't get it to run, which is annoying.
Okay. Well, either way, I mean that was like a good incentive for me to think about picking it up again.
I'll try to make it run my PC again to maybe see if they fixed it, but when I first did it, I tried playing it, it could not run. The first one runs, like the regular version runs fine. Mm-hmm. The remastered still has a bunch of glitches in it for me.
Well, we'll see. So anyway, that's my number 4. Number 3, I mentioned Amnesia in last week's episode with the stomping the water monster, but for an area that I had a lot of trouble getting through in Amnesia is the torture area.
Oh yeah, that's near the end, isn't it?
Yes.
It's that's the climax actually.
The game's officially 7 years old now or something. Yeah. It's old, but I remember that you would go through this there was a large room, and then within that large room there were several smaller rooms, and each smaller room it had a mechanism for torture.
Yep, I remember that room.
And one was a metallic cow that they would it was hollow, and you would put someone in the cow's stomach, close the door, lock it, and then they would put a fire underneath. Yep. And you could hear the person cooking, and I guess as they screamed, it sounded like a cow's noises, and so that's why it was the shape of a cow, which is super fucked. And so I don't know specifically about that one, if people actually did that, but a lot of these are based off of real, torture devices. There was one where someone was hung upside down, their legs spread by ropes, and then pretty much, the two-person, saw that you would cut down trees, back and forth, they would start at the groin between the legs and work down through the head. Holy shit, that's some very graphic imagery. Me describing that is even just tough to say. But, while you're going through all this, there's, narration for each thing as they describe each torture device. And then also, I believe that you see the wandering monster around in that, on top of, so the area is not only just, scary for, holy shit, this is just super fucked ways to torture, but also the fact that, in the game, you're still, hiding and keeping away from this thing.
Yeah.
So that makes my number 3, and the reason that it's above where it sits is because it wasn't just a scene. It was that whole area. I had to turn off and turn on the game within a solid week and a half of playing every single day. It probably took me a week and a half to get through just that part because I was so stricken by fear. I had to keep turning off the game. So those are my top 3 is Laura from PT, the Silent Hills demo, BioShock, the opening scene with the splicer ripping apart your vessel, and then Amnesia, the torture area.
Nice. And then I'm going to start my number 2. We talked about this game before and the scene again. It's Condemned Criminal Origins, and that is the bear scene. Well, it's actually the bear house. Because you're trapped in a house with a fucking zombie bear. This game, honestly, Condemned is just overall a great horror game. And there's so many scenes that got me where I had to just stop for a minute and it's alright, I have no choice but to go through this. And I'm not happy about it because I'm scared shitless. And I just remember where I was out inside in the woods and I was oh, this is actually nice. Finally a breather for things. I can take a breath because I was low in health and all that stuff. I was low in ammo. And I was just like, I was at that point in the game, I'm like, I just want this to be over because I'm tired of being scared. I just want to beat it. And you get to the damn house, and then you just first start in the basement and you work your way up. Before you even see the bear, you just hear it moving around the house. You just hear this giant thuds. You hear these roarings.
Oh my god.
And it's just so fucking terrifying because you just know that you have to keep on going in this house. You have no choice. And when you finally run into this bear, you have a whole fucking chase scene in a house. Just going down corridors, and you just hear this thing busting through walls, destroying the floor as it's chasing you. It was just like one of the most intense chase scenes I've ever played in my entire life in a game. And like, it was just so good. It's like, I'm really excited to pick up the game and play it again. And I'm probably going to be picking up this week. Because it's one of those things where I just can't have it when the parents are there. Because it'll just take so much out of it. But I'm super excited to replay Condemned Criminal Origins. Because it's on Steam and I really actually want to replay it. And I think it might be better with the mouse and keyboard, honestly. But yeah, that's my number 2, though. Just the house with the zombie bear. And this is a big fucking bear, too. This is like not just no simple grizzly bear. It's a huge fucking bear.
It's crazy to me that, like, I'm sure if you have no idea what we're talking about and you're like, oh, zombie bear, like, it's such a novelty idea. It's almost laughable. But, like, if you've ever seen the size of a bear compared to a human, and then you're playing in a first-person mode where a bear is, like, in your face, you know, you are going to understand just how horrifying that aspect, that concept can be.
Especially these intense scenes where you have to crawl between tight spaces to get out. It's like, move! Just go! Rip your nuts off! Fuck it! Because you're trying to get these tight places, the guy looks like he's afraid about scraping his nuts. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Just go through it. Fight through the pain.
Oh my god.
I just never been just like so fresh with the character moving so slowly in scenes. It was just like, I'm super excited to get back to that mode, honestly, which is funny because it terrified the hell out of me.
Well, I remember, so before Twitch.com was a thing, like Twitch streaming, they were called Justin TV.
Yeah, see, I never got to, like, I heard about this.
Yeah, and so I didn't play all the way through Criminal Origins. I mentioned that last week. I got too scared to play through that game. I made it pretty far, but I didn't make it to the zombie bear. But I did watch the rest of the game on Justin TV, and, it was like one of the most popular videos on Justin TV is like this guy, and he's like this, you know, he kind of, because you see the bear multiple times in the house as you move, as Mike was saying. Like, you first hear him, and then, like, when you're crawling through the wall, like, you'll see, like, like a bear paw or his face, like, come through a hole in the wall and, like, stare you down, or he'll, like, chase you down a hallway or something. Like, you see him multiple times, and this guy, he's, like, the first couple times he sees him, he's like, oh shit, and then, like, as you still know this bear is abundantly around, this guy's like, you motherfucker, you stupid motherfucker, and he's just, like, just yelling at the screen, like, trying to psych himself up to just keep moving forward. I mean, if you've ever felt, like, more into a video than this video of I mean, I don't think we'd even be able to find it.
I just know that guy's pain because I was doing exactly that same by myself. Because, like, I had no one watching me, but I was just yelling at the screen, like, you gotta do this. You just gotta do this dumb fucking thing.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it was just that whole, like, just get through it and then you'll be good. like, you know, throw caution and fear and everything else to the wind and just keep holding down forward.
I think after that moment, that game was no longer scared to me because, like, at least it's not the damn bear.
Yeah. Oh my god. So that's your number 2.
Yep.
So my number 2, it is a scary moment, but it is a reoccurring moment. And I'm gonna flex the rules a little bit here, but if you're able to work with me here, my number 2 moment is Fatal Frame. It's the combat system in Fatal Frame.
No, yeah, I mean that's something. Yeah,
If you're unfamiliar with the game, you play as this
high schooler girl.
You play as this power walking Asian high school girl in a haunted house. You can't go any faster than a solid power walk, where she like maybe gets 1 foot off the ground at a time. Yeah. And, like, which makes it even more horrifying because, like, as a monster's, like, chasing you, she, like, you can't run. She just does this stupid fucking power walk, and you're like, bitch, haul ass out of there. Like, there are ghosts around trying to kill you. So Fatal Frame combat, it's called Fatal Frame because your only weapon is a camera. You have to take pictures of the ghosts to hurt them. Yeah. And so that means that whatever scary, horrifying monster is chasing you, you have to look at it.
You had to stop, turn, and look through the aim reticle of a camera and face them head on.
Yeah, and like critical shots are headshots, so you have to zoom in and get a perfect centered headshot image. You can't just like get their arm or something and then it's good. And it forces you to take a 2 second or like a 1 or 2 second look at the picture after each hit or picture that you take. And some of them were so fucking horrifying. I played this game with Mike when we were like 13.
And then we had another friend who had joined us as well, actually.
Yeah, and whenever we played the game, like, you know, once again, we were not even, like, turned off the lights, and it was just, like, you know, three 13-year-old dudes hanging out in someone's room. Like, I mean, think of, like, stereotypical, just, like, hanging out with your buddies playing games when you're young. That was the situation, except lights off.
Good times.
You know, nothing says straight dudes, like, sitting on a dark bed, like, locked room, lights off, bed, everyone on the air, you know?
So much fun.
But,
one of my favorite moments too was like I remember this, like, we were low in health. I wasn't the one playing, and like I forget who was playing. It was you or the other person, and we were about to die. It was like a floating head, and I remember just turn around and just take the shot already. And I just remember he tells us turn around, looks at the camera, and right when he's in the camera, he doesn't even zoom in. The head was right in front of us. And he just takes the picture.
Yeah.
And
so
it just like this whole frame, and this whole picture frame is just only this fucking head. It was the scariest shit ever.
Yeah, that was me playing, and I can go further into detail because that was what I was going to describe in a second. So pretty much there was this. No, it's fine. So think about someone walking backwards essentially at you, but this person had their entire neck kind of like nearly headless Nick style, like from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like their head was cut off and thrown backwards onto their back. So as they're walking backwards towards you, like their head is still looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
And so this thing is like, you know, coming at you backwards, head like looking at you upside down, and we're just trying to haul ass away from it, but we can't. And we have to kill this thing. So like without, it's got like, you know, shitty camera work. It's got like shitty aiming and everything.
It's got shitty controls, honestly.
Yeah, like you can't really see where the monster is.
It's like
at certain
Resident
points.
Evil 1 controls.
Yeah, like it'll show you the corner of a two hallway intersection, but it won't show you what's down the corners or something.
So it's like the camera. It's like exactly like Resident Evil 1, where the camera is set in an area and you just have to deal with that.
Yeah, so there was a situation where I knew the monster was close to me, but I couldn't see it. So you just like get into the camera mode where it shows the camera, and then there's a button to just quickly do a 180 turn. So I just hit that button, do a turn, take the picture, and of course then the next like 2 seconds you see the monster like right in your face, and it's this fucking upside down headless like woman looking at you upside down all creepy like it's just holy fuck, it was scary.
So good.
Yeah, that was horrifying beyond all belief. But yeah, so Fatal Frame combat, I mean, that was just one instance, and you had to do that every single monster. Like, for me to take the 3 minutes to explain that one story, that wasn't just, like, a single thing in the game. That was the only way that you had to defend yourself, is to stare.
So many times.
Oh my god, it fucking sucked. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Number 2. So then for my number 1 is actually Resident Evil 1. The first time you run into a zombie scene where you walk up to a buddy and it's like, hey, are you okay? And it's like, it's actually a zombie who then, it turns into a cutscene.
Yeah.
Where the zombie turns around and then it's just like that creepy ass zombie face. Well, no longer creepy. But man, that actually made me leave the room as a kid. I actually left the room and didn't go back for another like 3 minutes while my friends played the game. And that stuck with me fucking forever. That was just like, I wish I could talk more about it because it's my number 1. But that one scene stuck with me for so long. And like in Evil Within, like that Evil Within had the same scene one when you run to like the first cop buddy of yours, and he turns, and it just brought all that back to me too as well. Just the scene of where the zombie just gets up and turns. You see the first zombie ever. Yeah, it just stuck with me so long. It actually scared me as a kid.
Yeah, you know, I bet that was done on purpose, because the guy that made the Evil Within 1 is the same guy that made Resident Evil 1.
It makes sense, because it was exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And it just, like, it brought actually shivers down my back, because it reminded me of that as a kid. And I was like, oh, boy. I hate saying it, but it was like one of those things like, oh, that actually triggered me a bit. I was like, fuck. It's like, no.
Yeah. No, I get that. I would probably say, though, like, it stinks for anyone listening to this list and they're like, oh, Mike's number 1 is Evil Within 1, the first zombie. Like,
no, Resident Evil 1, the first zombie.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, like, I would say I haven't played the game, but I've seen the cutscene, and I would say that it might be too late to, like, understand how scary that is. The graphics are PlayStation 1, and it's one of those things that, like, you just have to be in that moment.
Yeah.
If you tried to go back, it's probably not scary at all.
It's not, because during the time, having graphics, like, were insane to be that good and that realistic. And, like, now, obviously, it's like, oh, that's not real at all. You know, it's like, because nowadays games look actually realistic now. You know, they actually look real.
Well, I mean, I'm sure, talk to kids from any generation, they'll say this looks realistic. Like, we're always going to be improving, but yeah, like, juxtapose Resident Evil 1 to what we have now, like, the graphics are just going to take you out of it, essentially. And that is a shame, because that got so many people. Like,
it did, and that game is the only thing that actually ever made me leave a room at all. It's the only game that made me leave a room.
Yeah.
And that's why it's my number 1. Just the ability to actually make me get up and say nope and walk out of a room. It has to be my number 1.
It's awesome that it's timeless to you, because like, although some people will never be able to experience that, it's still. I'm jealous that you got to appreciate it. You know, it's the same people that got into Halo. I never got into Halo, but the people that did fucking love Halo.
No, same. Like, I love Halo, and I know that most, like, you don't like Halo, but for me, that thing is timeless for me.
Yeah, and like, I talk shit about the game, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I mean, if I could be as passionate about an additional game series as you are about Halo, you know, like, I feel like I've missed out by
I feel like I missed out on Sony games because I was an Xbox person, because that was like the first console, like major console I got.
Yeah.
And never really got into the PlayStation, especially in PlayStation 3. I really am sad that I missed on all the good PS3 games, because, man, PS3 had top-notch games I never got a chance to fully explore at all.
Yeah, there were some good ones.
Because, like,
Uncharted came out on PS3, and everyone, you know,
I played that with you. Yeah, that game was stupid fun. Yeah. You picked up and beat it in one go.
Yeah, we played it the entire night. Uncharted 2, not the first one. We played Uncharted 2. And that game was still my favorite out of the series.
Yeah, that game was so good. And I was super excited to me that you wanted to rent that and just play that game. I was like, yes, I get to play Uncharted now.
Yeah.
And I was really upset too, because when PS4 came, I was like, oh yeah, you can play all the older games now too. No, you couldn't. It's like you can play Last of Us, which I did play. Fucking fantastic game. It's like Sony has great hits. Yeah. And I'm sad I missed out on that.
Well, like everyone does. I mean, I was just talking about Halo.
I feel like Sony had way more, though, in the end. The more that stuck around.
It's a tough call, because any hits that Microsoft has is typically going to be on Steam or on the PC, computer.
Which is why I missed out on Sony, because I won't be able to actually play those because I have a PC. Well, with Microsoft, which I'm happy they're doing, though, they're all on the PC too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Alright, so your number 1 being Resident Evil 1, the first zombie.
I feel like mine are always the ones that are, like, my number 1s are always kind of a surprise. Like, the last one was, like, the freaking Death Claws.
Yeah, that one definitely, took me. I wasn't expecting that.
And I'm not trying to, like, to do these to be a surprise at first. Like, honestly, these are, like, Resident Evil 1, first zombie. Damn.
Yeah, like, I think, I mean, Mike, I assume that you do this, but I always look up, like, scariest moments in games, and then, like, I've got my own experiences and my first thoughts of games that I write down as well, but then I'm like, maybe I forgot a game, or maybe I forgot a moment, and I try to find all these other instances of, like, oh, that was scary in this game or something. Like, I try to see other lists because, like, legitimately, if Laura from PT, my number 5, if I was in the right mindset and I had been playing, the demo from start to the point that it scared me, I mean, that would probably be my number 1. And it was for a lot of other people's lists online. I checked out some stuff.
What I did for it, I actually didn't look at any list. I didn't even look at my game list at all. I just thought, right when you told me the top 5, I just thought back, just like, all right, what are the scary moments I can remember, actually? And then, like, the top 3 of the Bioshock and Dem and Resident Evil 1, those are the first, like, Resident Evil 1 is the first thing that popped in my head, actually, when you first gave the idea of this. That was actually my number 1, right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I immediately remembered Condemn the Bear. And then Bioshock was also what came in. So, like, the last, like, number 5 and number 4 were really hard for me to pick, actually, because not many scenes stuck with me. It was like that's when I went down the list and I was like, oh yeah, Dead Space. And right when I thought Dead Space, the only thing I can think of was the baby scene, honestly. That was the only one that actually stuck out for me at all. And then Evil Within beat that, though. And so I don't know if Evil Within beat it because it was more recent, but still, just like that one moment actually spooked me, actually scared me. Just him busting down the door and just looking straight at me.
Yeah.
And so that's how I do my list. I don't look at other people's lists. I don't look at games. I immediately just go through my thought because, like, if they actually left their impression, I would remember them.
Sure.
That's how I do mine. So what's your number one?
Okay, yeah, sorry, to get back on pace here. So my number one is Silent Hill 2.
Nice.
It's the entire apartment complex area.
Yep. We put that one together, too.
That one, like, I
miss that. We need to, like, when I start working actually back in town, you know, we need to start doing that more often where we play horror games together. We used to do that
wouldn't
all
mind
the time.
that. Yeah, that'd be good. Like, Silent Hill 2, the apartment complex, and I kind of noticed a theme in some of the games I was choosing. Like, Amnesia does a good job. I mentioned Amnesia as my number 3rd. But Silent Hill 2 as well, they both have really good sound design.
Yeah.
And I think sound is hugely important to horror.
Oh, for sure.
The apartment complex, there's certain areas that are dead quiet, and then there's some areas that for no reason whatsoever, it's like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and it's like so loud, and it's like danger is immediately like right behind you all the time, like, but you don't see anything. It's just this awkwardly loud music.
It's like, what's going on? What am I being chased by?
But it throws you for a loop because it just puts you on edge. Like, you don't hear this loud drumming music on, like, I mean, we're just like conditioned to be like, something's going to attack me, and they have it playing for like hours. Like, it takes to get through the apartment complex. If you aren't sure what you're doing, there's some stupid fucking puzzles in the game.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna be stuck in there for a long time. Like, just listening to that music, just thinking about that music, like, you know, dark hallway, do 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 do, and it's just like, fuck. When I first played the game, I quit at the apartments. Like, I couldn't get past them. The second attempt that I made to play the game, I followed a cheat. Or, not a cheat, I followed a walkthrough all the way just to, like, get through the apartments as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And then I got to another scene. It's, like, this prison area. Like, you go all the way underground on these stairs. And,
yeah, I remember that part.
Like, that part, I stopped playing there. Like, that is also an equally scary part, but not, you know, it doesn't make the list. And then I finally beat it on the 3rd time. But essentially, the reason that is my number 1 of my top 5 of all time is because not only is it horrifying, but I forced myself to play through it 3 separate times. And each time it was still terrifying. I knew exactly what was going to happen the 3rd time. And I still was just like, no, this fucking sucks. It was bad. And so that's why it's my number 1.
Do I have to give appreciation to Silent Hill 2 and, like, the Silent Hill games? I like how their difficulty settings is more based on how difficult their puzzles are.
Yeah, that's
I love that. I thought that was so cool.
It's a cool feature, but they're so stupid. The one with the coins in the apartment building was the dumbest thing.
Yeah, they were like so hard.
If you played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There, you get like 5 slots to put coins, and you don't even use all the slots. If you're on the hardest difficulty, I think you've got 4 coins and you've got 5 slots to put them in. So anyone that's playing the game for the first time is like, okay, obviously I missed a coin somewhere, and you spend like 6 hours looking for an additional coin. It's so fucking stupid. I have to disagree with you there, bud.
I just love it because we don't spend like forever to do it. Where then, you know what I found, just give up and just look it up. I'm like, all right, I know it. I'll tell you guys are close or not, and that was it.
Yeah, that was dumb. But okay, so to recap, my top 5 is Laura from PT, Bioshock from the opening scene of Bioshock with the splicer, the torture area from Amnesia, the combat from Fatal Frame, and then the apartment complex from Silent Hill 2.
And then mine are Dead Space, the exploding baby scene, Evil Within, when I was trapped under the bed, Bioshock when you first get the shotgun, Condemned, and that fucking zombie bear. And number 1 is Resident Evil 1 when you come across the first zombie. And then I have one honorable mention is that there's this survival game that me and Ben love to play. Like, we destroyed this game. It's called 7 Days to Die.
Yeah.
And there's just this one moment which was I don't know if it was scary for him, but it was kind of just like scary, just and a funny moment too, just for me, is that in this game you can also mine underground.
It's like Minecraft with a survival zombie twist to it.
But it's not blocks, it's actually realistic. They try to make it look realistic too.
Yeah, but in the sense that everything is destructible and it's a crafting game, that's how it's like Minecraft.
Yeah. And you can also mine underground for resources. And I remember I was exploring a town and Ben was just doing the basic mining in this bank. And we just logged back into the game. And I remember I was exploring, and next thing I hear Ben like, "Oh my god, no!
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
This is bullshit! Get the fuck out of here!" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "There's a dog down here! There's a fucking dog in this cave, dude! It's killing me! It's killing me!"
Yeah.
And it kills you. It was just so great, and just to hear that over the, just the intercom, just you screaming about this dog killing you in a cave.
Yeah, the game, it, loads, there was a patch... For a while, there was a patch where, if you make noise in the game, you'll alert a crowd of zombies. A crowd of zombies will spawn if you make enough noise or if there's enough heat, from a source. If you have a forge or a campfire or you've got food, they'll spawn a group of zombies and then they'll walk towards your area. There was a glitch where no matter how many of them you killed or how little noise that you made or how much fire, or how much heat you
distributed, so it wasn't a source.
Yeah, distributed. Irregardless of anything that changed from when the first group of zombies was alerted, they constantly came at you. There was a constant wave that kept hitting you from making this one mistake. So the only way to take care of it is to log out and log back in. But there was still issues with that, where anything that was still there, the game registered, okay, there's a dog in the area, so when these guys log in, I've got to spawn in a dog somewhere close to them. When they logged out, there's these monsters that are close to them, so I've got to spawn them somewhere in the same general area. So, I log in, Mike and I both log in to play the game, and we're in a fucking cave,
you are, I'm out in another city.
Yeah, okay. So... it's inside of our base, behind walls, behind, defense mechanisms, under a hatch, way underneath the ground. It was literally
the safe room.
Yeah. And a dog spawned in the room.
It spawned in the game next to you. And if you've never played the game, dogs are the most deadliest thing in the game.
Yeah, they've got... they don't have a lot of health, but they're really fast and they do a lot of damage.
And they don't react when you hit them either. And, they barely do any reaction. Zombies will even sometimes fall over at least. Dogs, no. They keep on coming at you.
Well, during this patch, yeah, they do. Sometimes they'll,
whimper and go, okay.
Yeah, they will now, but back in the day, yeah, there was, no stopping them.
It's awful.
So, I'm mining in this cave, and I don't have, any of my weapons attached, because why would I?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this dog just immediately, you spawn in, the cave is dark, and, you turn on your flashlight, and there's a fucking dog in there, and you're like, oh my god.
You screaming this out was just great for me.
I was pissed. When you die in the game's called 7 Days to Die, and when you do die and have to respawn, it, just murders you. It
lowers your health and stamina.
Yeah, which is huge. Health and stamina, especially stamina, is such a huge, important part of the game. And when you lose any of it, you lose by increments of 10, and you start with 100. So you lose 10% right off the bat, and then you lose, from 90 to 80, and etc., etc.
It stops at, at 75.
Something around there, yeah. But, so, it takes forever just to get 1 point of stamina back, and it's so easy to die. And you can lose up to 60 or 75 points of stamina.
Yeah.
And you can gain maybe 1 stamina per 2 hours.
Yeah.
It takes so much time to recover.
To recover it, you have to eat actually stuff that is well cooked. I forget what they call it. But you have to get a certain amount of nourishment before you can raise up your health.
Yeah, it's a wellness meter that they have,
which is depends on how well your food is cooked.
And it just it's a fucking pain in the ass. It takes forever.
Yeah, because you only levels up 1 health. It doesn't give you 10. It just gives you 1, no matter what.
Yeah, and so no, I agree. That was a really scary thing because knowing the consequences of dying, and that game had good consequences.
Yeah, that was actually a real nice consequence where it was it wasn't where it was totally pointless, where it didn't matter if you died, but it was still a point where it's like, all right, it would suck if I die a lot because it's gonna take me a while to get back to it.
Yeah, like I've heard Dark Souls has a dying mechanic where like it halves your health or something like that.
No, you just lose all your souls, and so like you can't. I think you do less damage until you become full again. I don't fully remember, so I can't say. I don't remember it at all. Honestly.
Yeah, neither of us have played Dark Souls, I guess.
I played it, but I completely forgot it, so...
Either way, I've heard that they've got a pretty in-depth death mechanic where, like, dying in that game also equally sucks.
Oh, yeah, it fucking full-blown blows, because you lose everything. You lose all your money, basically. Souls is money in Dark Souls, and so it's all gone until you go back to where your dead body is. Except if you die again trying to get to it, all that disappears then. Yeah. So it's like... Fuck.
And yeah, so in the sense that I understand the consequences of dying, like in this game, 7 Days to Die, like I can agree that was a scary part.
Yeah, it was just like I don't know why, but I just kept on thinking of that moment, so that's why I just had to mention it at least.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our top 5. Typically after the top 5, we move on to some sort of like a news story or rant or so. This week we decided to do similar to what we were talking about earlier. So Mario Odyssey, it's received a lot of 10 out of 10, perfect scores. The game is fantastic, etc., etc. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with that, but it did get me thinking that it did get me thinking of what games I would consider a perfect 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. So Mike and I decided that for this week we would both choose one game.
Yep.
And we would briefly talk about it, and we would explain why we think that this one game, in our mind, is a perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it can be from any, era, or, it doesn't have to be like a new release or anything. It's just a game that we think...
When it came out, was a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, like, it can't possibly be improved. Like, obviously, graphics have improved now, but, like,
yeah.
the game...
That sounds fair.
Yeah, the game, given... what it had at the time, like there was no way that it could have been a better game. Yeah. Did you want to go first, or should I?
I can go first.
Okay, yeah.
This is kind of funny because we were talking about Mario Odyssey. My 10 out of 10 game was Mario 64. I like every single time, like because we just came up with the day, and even my top favorite games, I want to give 10 out of 10s, except for really Mario 64. There's nothing I can think I can add to that game because it's really long. But it doesn't take long to beat. There's just so much to do in it. The levels are all uniquely designed and fun to play. The controls were actually super tight, especially being super tight for a Nintendo 64. That's impressive as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters are great. I mean, it's fucking Mario. I mean, it doesn't matter if you like Nintendo or not. Everyone loves fucking Mario. You can't hate him. And I have nothing bad to say. I cannot think of one bad thing to say about Mario 64. Even had tight camera control, too. And yeah, it's my 10 out of 10 game.
I was thinking about this, like, obviously I've been playing Super Mario Odyssey, and I was thinking about the movement specifically, because Mario is a very, like, he has, like, a really good jump, and he's got, like, his movement is really tight as well.
He's actually, like, the perfect running speed, too. Like, I never thought, like, Mario should be running slower or faster. And there's always ways to run faster too. Like you can always do the large leap forward to run faster to gain more speed. But in the end, like I just felt overall that just like 10 out of 10 for everything for Mario 64.
Yeah. Well, so to continue with the movement that I was gonna say is that like this is the first game that Mario was in 3 dimensions. So like this was their first attempt at a 3D game, and seeing as how the game is still like speed run and everything now, that is a huge accomplishment. But think of the original side-scrolling Mario games. You moved and you jumped, and like you could depending on how long you held A, you would jump to a certain height. But think of all the different jumps that you can do in Mario 64.
Oh my god!
If you run a certain direction, then change directions and jump, you do like a side jump, like a massive jump. You can do a long jump in the game. You can do the 1, 2, 3 jump where you like do the flips afterward.
You can do wall jumping left and right.
Yeah, like can you even imagine how top-notch that developing team was to come up with all of that stuff without anyone even having any 3-dimensional gaming platforming experience? That is absurdly creative of them.
And what's sad is that it's still better than most 3D platforms. Because when you play even 3D platforms today, they're hard to fucking traverse, through areas because it's kind of hard to see where you're going. But for some reason with Mario, I never had that issue at all actually figuring out where I was going to land to or where I was aiming to and how to get there. I always knew exactly where I was going, how to get there, and just like, this is so good.
Yeah, I mean...
Stupid.
I can't get over that fact that, like, this is their first attempt.
First try.
Like, that is... It's insane, you know? That's the first time that Mario ever did anything three-dimensional, and they just knocked it out of the park, even by today's standards.
Like, I can still have fun playing Mario 64 today.
Anyone can.
It's just, like... That's why it's my 10 out of 10, because it's the only game I cannot... It's like, I can play anytime, I can't find any faults with it. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
And, no, I agree with you. Like, we both had to pick one title here, and so I'm not saying that because this isn't the one I'm talking about, that I disagree with that game being a 10 out of 10. But, no, I mean, like, 100%. There's no way that that game deserves any less than an absolutely perfect score, given the resources that they had.
Mm-hmm. And it's just timeless.
Yeah.
And then that's I have nothing else to say, but it's like, and I'm not even a big Nintendo guy, because I didn't have any other really Nintendo products after Nintendo 64, honestly, except for like the Game Boys and the Game Boy Advance, but everyone had those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and like, even though it's like, I'm not even a fan of Nintendo, it's just like, but that game, damn. So that's my number one, Mario 64. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, so the game that I decided to talk about being a perfect 10 out of 10, is Minecraft. And I mean, I know Mario and Minecraft, like everyone's...
Two different things, yeah. But everyone's played Minecraft.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is, yeah, like everyone's played these games, but that's not the point. We're not supposed to be surprising anyone with this 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If a game came out that is a perfect score, you've probably heard of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I wrote a couple reasons why Minecraft is a 10 out of 10, but it, like, yeah, even right now, even though the game's been out for years now, I can't think of them possibly, like, updating the graphics style. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
I destroyed that game. I played it so much.
Yeah. So, to run through the reasons that I think that it's just perfect in every single way is you make your own fun. So, the game can be whatever you wanted it to be. You know? It was this massive... I read somewhere that when it first came out, and it might have gotten bigger at this point, but when it first came out, if you just started walking and headed in a direction, you can explore 4 times the mass of the Earth.
That's nuts.
Before the game just, like, crashed, I guess. Like, you can find that much land before the game was, like, overloaded.
There's actually a video of someone's, like, that's all he did. He just walked in one direction, and that's all he did. And so I think he reached the limit too. So if you want to look it up, just look up like walking to the underworld in Minecraft. You'll probably find the video.
Yeah,
because that's all the guy did. And I think like he took him like 4 days to do, maybe. And then like that's all he did for hours. He Twitch streamed it too. So I have to relook up that video and see how long it took him to actually get to the end of the world.
Damn. But yeah, so like okay, that was kind of a tangent. But to
no,
make
fine. That's
to
why
get
it's on here.
Yeah. Well, to get back to like making your own fun is that like. The game can take any form. If you have Minecraft, there are servers to play like a style like people are making like Mordor in Minecraft. People are making the entire Lord of the Rings. People are making Harry Potter Hogwarts. There are servers dedicated to like PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, where it's like a fight for your life, like last person to survive wins. The game can take as many forms as you want it to be.
There's even like zombie survival, there's hide and go seek, there's 1,000. Any game you know and play, there's a game on that in Minecraft, basically.
Yeah, there's like Call of Duty Minecraft where people have modded guns into it. And the modding community is not only strong, but the company Mojang is also like very much...
Pro.
They're pro modding. They're very. I've never seen any restrictions or any difficulties that they've put in place to stop people from just creating more and more content. I mean, look at the character skins for Minecraft. There are millions upon millions, and then there's other companies that are like charging people money for a basic skin like on your character. Like Minecraft is perfect because it is anything and everything that you want it to be.
And there's literally there's no limitations.
So that's my number one. The second one is, the reason that I think it's great is the price point. It's, like, when I bought it, it was $20. Like, can you
Mine was 18 because I bought it, like, when it was early development.
Yeah. Like, can you even imagine a better deal? I think I've played that game for hundreds upon hundreds of hours. I can't think of a game that even comes close to, like, bang for your buck, you
No,
know?
yes, and like that's one of the games where like I'm the same amount as you as well. Like I've destroyed that game.
Yeah, I mean, this could have easily been a $60 game, and people still would have bought it in masses. But it's like I think it's like $30 right now still. Like
Yeah.
it's such a stupidly good deal. So I don't need to get too much into like that. But the fact is that it's just like they know how big and important that this game is going to be, and they saw the potential, and they gave it to people for a fair price. Because once again, as my first reason, you make your own fun in the game. If you wanted it to, it could just be a $5 game that, like, you know, you're not going to spend too much time in. It's not really your deal. But to some people, it was absolutely priceless, and I was definitely in that group.
Likewise. And not to give you that, so far I do agree with you that it is actually a 10 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
Because I can't really see any major flaws of what that game was meant to be. It completed exactly what it is and added 1,000 more to it.
Yeah. Well, that was so my next thing is also the support for it, because the game came out years ago and it's still getting a good amount of support from like patches and updates from the developer team,
and
the developing team.
And people are always asking to be put more and more on different platforms too. Like it's been out forever, but people still want it like in every single platform there's out there. People want it every new console and all that stuff.
Yeah, and these aren't just like basic updates. They add in like magic is now a thing in the game. One of my favorite updates, which I don't know gets enough love, but farming is like so much fun. Like people talk about Stardew Valley being great and everything. I love farming in Minecraft. It is just the best. It's so good. So like the constant support, another reason why it's just fantastic. And finally, I just want to say that the time invested that I put into the game felt completely worthwhile. I never for a second felt like I was wasting my time. And if you played that game for 10 hours during a day, I would never consider it like, wow, I could have done something else today. I would have been like, dude, I built this awesome castle. You know, like...
See, for me, I was like the exact opposite. I just loved exploring. Like, my favorite thing is if I came across a mine shaft, I was set for the whole entire day. I'm like, I'm exploring this until I see every corner of this mine shaft.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing.
Like that, yeah, it's just the perfect game. You can get
so much out of it, because, like, Ben is actually an architect, and so he knows how to make fantastic things and has the ability to not only think of it, but also build it. Me, on the other hand, I don't really have, like, I can think of something, but to actually build something is a whole different aspect for me. So that's why I never liked that part of it completely. I love the exploring of it. And I loved how I came with systems, so I never got lost in any caves or any mine shafts. I just absolutely, I had like a downbeat system I came up with myself, and it was just great when I finally cleared like a whole entire mine shaft.
Yeah, I was definitely the type of person that appreciated Minecraft on the creative side versus like the survival or the exploration.
I like the survival and the exploration side for me.
Yeah. I don't know, it was just really cool. Like when they had the piston update where you could like do red wire and make secret doors and stuff, I was all about that.
Dude, when they added the like the red wiring stuff,
or redstone,
people literally made computers in the game. There were actually computers that they built in the game that can do stuff.
Well, there was the joke about making Minecraft in Minecraft, and I think there's been like different versions of people doing that, but yeah, like I'm sure that's been done by now.
I guarantee you can type like we said, you can type anything in there and you'll find it in Minecraft. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just fantastic.
So yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that form fits the function of the game, but I already kind of covered that. Like the game doesn't really have to look any better. Mm-hmm. It's all rigid, but it makes sense that it's rigid is because everything is destructible. Like, so I don't have to get too much into that, but yeah, it's just. I can't see any possible way, aesthetically, mechanically, in terms of like learning the game in a tutorial, that it's like subtle and it's easy. Story, you know, it just doesn't need it. Like it can be anything, and if it isn't what you want it to be, there are like a million different things that you can download for it to be that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 10 out of 10 game.
Good choice.
So. Typically, after we talk about typically after that segment, we normally like to go into games that are coming out and anything that sounds interesting. I'm gonna go ahead because I know Mike.
Yeah, I had to look for we sometimes said do it for a month, but I usually just look what's coming out for during the week.
Yeah, and so Mike and I, we both look through Steam, we both look through like I think Game Informer or the GameSpot or something, they have these lists of like, oh, AAA games coming out. We try to see it from a lot of different angles and like, oh, this is what's going on in smaller communities. This is what's going on in bigger communities. I'm going to go ahead and say that nothing really captured my eye too much coming out. And that's the reason I wanted to go first, is like I didn't want to...
No, that's fine.
There's no build-up here. The one thing I was going to mention is that Call of Duty World War II does come out this week, I think on Friday. And I feel like Call of Duty, there's the people that are really passionate, and then there's the people that are like, oh, Call of Duty, whatever. Like, we've all been through those phases of like, oh, I love Call of Duty, I hate Call of Duty.
Well, it's either you like it or you don't. I'm one of those people who don't like it, and I already know that there's going to be Call of Duty every year. So it's like, I'm like, cool, another Call of Duty for people to play. That's fine.
Yeah, and that doesn't faze me necessarily. Like, Call of Duty World War II comes out this week, and I'm not necessarily, like, ecstatic about it. I mean, I'm going to finish Mario Odyssey, and then, honestly, I wrote down a couple other games I was going to just play. But, like, I think that I'm still a little excited because I love Nazi zombies.
No, yeah, that's what I was going to say. The only reason why I'm going to say it is because I know that you're probably going to pick it up, and it's going to be just you and me playing the couch of Nazi zombies.
Yeah, so we'll see. It's definitely not going to be a day one pickup for me, but, you know, if the zombies get, like, an absolutely glowing review, I might pick it up later this week. But realistically, I mean, if you don't know about World War II Nazi zombies, they're showing that it's going to be more of like a survival type.
Oh, really?
This time around, sorry, not survival. It's going to be more of a horror type. I mean, so like a lot more like grotesque and graphic and gory.
I just hope it's not just like when there's like a hidden story behind with all these Easter eggs, because that's all everyone focuses now online, which is annoying.
I don't mind that, but it can't interfere with the basic gameplay mechanics
which
of turning on the power and getting the pack-a-punch.
Which I feel like it does. I always feel like I'm trying to do this backstory, which I do not care about at all. Where I just want to do a simple horde, you know, not a simple horde mode.
Yeah. I agree with you there. Like, Shangri-La, I mean, I could name a couple maps where they just totally go out of their comfort zone and stretch, you know, your objectives and to do the simplest thing.
Yeah, and which is annoying because then it splits what people want out of the game then. And that's already hard enough to find people that have the same goal, especially if it's strangers too. So you have two people, like 4 different people with 4 different things in mind. And then even if they have the same way of like the same goal, they're going to have 4 different ways of doing that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, once again, I know, Mike, you have a couple games that you wanted to mention. No, So I just want to blow through and quickly say, like, Call of Duty is coming out this week. It's, you know, people do care about it, but at the same time, I mean...
I was going to mention it, too, because it's at least to mention it. It'd be stupid not to.
Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, I am excited to see what the reviews look like, and if the zombies are good, that would be the exclusive reason I'd pick it up. I mean, we'll see about the multiplayer. I could actually... I don't mind Call of Duty multiplayer, actually.
It's a fun... I like it because it's the reason why I like a lot of single-player games where they have a quick die mechanic where you can immediately start again. And it's one of those things like, all right, you play a multiplayer game, sure you'll die a lot, but you're immediately back in the combat, so it doesn't really matter in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, sure you lose, but, I mean, I play to have fun, and I do play to win, but if I don't win, I'm not going to flip a freaking chair over because these matches are only, like 10 minutes?
Mike plays to win!
Those are the ones I don't mind. If I was playing League of Legends, yeah, I play to fucking win. Because I'm not wasting 45 minutes of my time and lose, alright? That's why I don't play League of Legends. I don't have the time anymore to do that and end up losing. Especially when one fucker decides to give up.
Yeah. And so, once again, Call of Duty coming out. No, it's fine. It's alright there, bud.
I don't have time for that shit anymore. I'm an adult now.
But yeah, Call of Duty coming out. We'll see how the reviews look for it. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
You have anything else you want to talk about that you saw?
So, no, but I might. You can say yours, and then I might add in a quick segment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, I usually just go through like Steam's list because I like to talk about games that I actually will pick up. And so I went down, and this week I actually had a lot of nice looking games. I avoid early access games because I don't like talking about them because I think early access is kind of BS. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, sure.
And I avoided VR, but honestly, if you have a VR, I definitely suggest looking up this week for VR because there's a lot of them that look pretty good.
And there's still a Halloween, as we're talking right now, there's going to be a Halloween sale until Halloween. There's a lot of horror titles that are on sale right now.
Okay, let's get the note.
I mean, we're recording this on the 29th, and so even from this point, we've only got 2 days before Halloween is, but I mean, if you listen to this first day that the podcast comes out and you've got VR, go ahead and look at that list because it's pretty extensive.
Yeah, and so one of these games I came across was called Hallowed, and it's a puzzle game. And if you ever played, it was called Trinity or something like that, when you can switch between the wizard, the knight.
Oh, Trine.
Trine. It reminds me of the look of Trine a bit, and it just looked like a nice little puzzle game. Not totally good, but I actually might pick it up to give it a go too, because it looks very nice. I like kind of the story. It's a little bit dark tone a bit, because you're a girl who loses her husband or boyfriend, and you're just trying to get them back, and it looks like his spirit helps you out through these puzzles. It looks like the puzzles might be a little bit too straightforward, so I'm going to just take a little bit more depth look at it before I pick this one up. The next one I saw actually looked really good. It's called We Mothered, Tormented Fathers. And this is when it seems like you play as a grandmother almost. Like you're actually pretty old. But it looked really good though. The style of the game, the graphics look awesome. And it looks like Until Dawn, where most of it's QuickTime event. But I kind of want to play it for some reason. I don't know why. And this comes out the 31st. So I'm actually...
On Halloween.
On Halloween. I'm actually going to pick up this game to play because it looks really well done. And I'm interested in the story because you don't really ever play an elderly woman at all. I mean, don't want to diss or anything like that, but she looks old because all of her hair is gray. And she almost looks kind of like a grandmother, but not like frail like a grandmother. Just like... So I'm really interested in looking at actually playing this game. And so that once again, that's Remothered Tormented Fathers, and that comes out on Halloween. Another game I came across, I don't think I'm going to be picking this up, it's called Scariest, Tactical Adventure. I just love the title of that alone because it sounded pretty cool.
It's called
Chessaria, Tactical Adventure, and it looks like you explore the levels and then you play off of chessboards, but I don't think it doesn't look like you actually are chess pieces. It just like the battlefield is just like a chessboard.
Yeah, so from what I can tell, I mean, I am just looking at this on Mike's screen for the first time, but I would assume that your characters move like chess pieces, and then it's turn-based, I would assume, type of attacking.
There's not enough information given in the trailers and stuff, but I might actually pick this up because it's pretty unique, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. It's pretty cool. And then this is a thing I wanted to show Ben. I just wanted to see his reaction. So this is, I'm not making fun of the game. It's just like a novel story game. But there's just this funny moment when I came across it when I was looking at pictures of it. It's called Wandering in Space.
Wandering in Space, huh?
Yeah, and so it looks like it's all done in space. And like the background, the ships look super cool. Until you see one of the character designs when they first pop up. So you think this is all well done, right? Look at that.
Okay, that looks like a pretty good,
Beautiful. Totally awesome. That looks really
good.
Well done.
Screenshots, nice,
And then you have this character show up.
What?
In the background. It's like a basic how to draw an anime character in this epic background design. And it's just the funniest shit ever. And look at that.
I don't understand.
All that effort to make an awesome background, and you have this shitty drawn character.
The background looks like Star Wars, and this girl looks like Peppa Pig.
Yeah, basically. I just laughed because I was like, "Oh, this looks really cool." I didn't realize it was like a space novel, so I'm not gonna pick it up because that's not my cup of tea. If you are, that's totally fine. Just not my type of thing. It just made me laugh so hard. I just all of a sudden came across this picture here, this woman.
Oh my god.
It's just so good and funny. So I just had to show that to Ben to see his reaction on that one.
You can see the immediate point when they just lost their budget completely.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They were like, how much money do you want to spend on the background? This guy was like, all the money, obviously.
That's what matters. Like, and then they get to the characters like, fuck. You're screwed.
No, it's fine. She's got eyes, a mouth. It's good. I can draw that.
It's like the most contrast I've ever seen in any type of thing ever. In any media, in any game. It does not mix at all. When you see the character and then the background, like in every other... Like, look at this. There's a giant explosion in this middle of the spaceship, and it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, so once again, obviously, we're kind of like looking at images here, but if you wanted to check it out, the game is called Wandering in Space to get an idea of...
Yeah.
And we're on the Steam page. We're on steampower.com.
It just made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
And then I also wanted to do a mention of like either of you guys ever watch anime, you probably remember Dot Hack. Sorry.
Dot Hack.
We've been talking a lot, so catching up. Dot Hack. It's an anime, and they actually made a shit ton of games, and they're actually having another one come out this week. I mean, I never played the game. I didn't care for it, but I've always noticed how many games it have, and it's like, I don't know how much they have, but they have a shit ton. They're already coming up with another one, so I at least want to give mention to that at least.
Okay.
And then, is there anything else to notice? Not really. Nothing else I really wanted to give any notice to. And those are the games, and so I'm definitely going to be picking up Remothered when it comes out on Halloween, and have that ready for you guys for next week. And then there's also Hallowed, which I might get too. And so that's what's for me coming out this week.
Okay.
And you said you had something else you want to talk about, maybe?
Yeah, so I wanted to quickly mention that I didn't see anything specifically that I was interested in coming out this week. Call of Duty, once again, we'll see how the reviews look. So I think that I'm going to just pick up a game that I've been interested in playing for a while. There's one of 3, and I'm going to be playing Mario Odyssey for a couple days, but if like you have an opinion one over the other, anyone, like, feel free to comment or something, because I'm definitely back and forth about them, and I think that they're all on sale right now. But the first one's Dying Light, and they've got the Enhanced Edition, which I'm not sure what that adds, but Dying Light, after playing The Evil Within for a while, like, people have been saying, like, Dying Light, that's a fantastic horror game that has come out in the last couple years. Like, it's great. Like, why the fuck would you play The Evil Within over Dying Light? So, that game looks good. And it's pretty darn cheap right now. The next game is called A Night in the Woods. And this is an indie game. And it's playful. It's just a 2D side-scroller. But everyone is like an animal. And it's just like you talk, and it's more story based, I guess. But everyone's saying this game looks awesome.
Yeah, everyone I watch reviews to only have good things to say about this game.
Right.
So I'm getting really congested. So if my voice changes, I just got congested for some reason.
Mac.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. But so I can't stop hearing nothing but great things about A Night in the Woods. Honestly, it wouldn't even be a question about which game I was going to pick up this week if this game didn't have the smallest discount. The other games have like 40%, whatever, 50% discount. This one's just got like, 20% or something. It knocks off like maybe $3 for it.
Yeah.
So Night in the Woods, I just like unique indie games. So that one is the one I'm really interested in. But
it's just that one out of any other one so far, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, we'll see. The last game is The Witcher 3. The Game of the Year edition came out. Wild Hunt. But yeah, the Game of the Year edition came out. And that's also on sale. I think it's like 50% off right now. And we've got a friend who just won't shut the fuck up about The Witcher.
He loves it. And I won't deny it, I did play Witcher 2 a bit, and that game is fun. It is beautiful and fun.
Yeah, like I have The Witcher 2, but I've never gotten around to playing it. And I mean, The Witcher 3, I'm debating how much the stories do go off of each other, or if I could just pick up The Witcher 3, because I mean, looking at the screenshots, like, it looks unbelievable. And if it does play out like Skyrim, where the map is huge, you can go anywhere, and it is like just this survival action, just like roam around the woods and explore type of adventure, like, I am all for that. I just want to make sure that the story doesn't get too confusing if I just jump in midway, essentially.
I think it might, because I played Witcher 2 a bit, and like in the beginning scene, I came across these two guys, and like I just remember them talking to me, and they go like, "Oh, sorry about trying to like almost rape you and your friend, it's just totally just a mishap and this," and my guy's like, "Yeah, it's cool." I'm like, "What? Wait, what?" And like there were hours or something like that. It just saying, so it might have some effect, but like in Witcher 2, you have like amnesia, so it's like technically you're not supposed to remember everything, but it felt really awkward in that game playing it, because it seemed like everyone knew who you were, and even though you're supposed to have amnesia in it, it's like I felt like I should have played the first one.
Well, yeah, okay. So from what I can tell about the series is that being a Witcher is like, people kind of just sneer at you, and they're not, I don't know exactly what that means, but you're like a monster hunter or something. Yeah. But I think like as long as that general theme is still there, obviously that's fine. I'm more concerned about like, oh, you kill this major figure in a previous game, and then like people are constantly talking about that figure.
I felt like they were doing that in the second one. I don't know, but
well, because the second one was called like the King Killer or something, or like Like, it's... Or
I still had fun, though. I'm not knocking it because...
Assassin of Kings, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, because I remember there's a bunch of side quests you get in where they don't know who you are, and man, those side quests were actually really cool to do. And it wasn't that stupid stuff that was like, oh, I need you to gather these plants for me, or I need you to kill these rats affecting my garden. It was actually real stuff, which was awesome. Which I appreciated too, especially like...
I need you to convince my daughter to not have premarital sex. It's gonna be a toughie, bud.
Yeah. Well, kind of like there's.
Can I just kill 10 boars for you?
Yeah, it might be easier. I just remember there's a scene where they're like, oh, let me like. She was like, oh, let me reward you. It's like, oh, like for a little special gift. And so we go in the woods, and she's like, did you really think I was gonna give you that? I'm like, kind of, yeah. Because then you get ambushed, and it was just really cool.
Yeah.
And but sadly though, I did come into this one port where I was stuck in this abandoned area. It had nothing to do with my quest, and I was stuck in there, and I had to kill this ghost, and it kept on killing me 100 times over, and I had to stop playing because I couldn't get past it because of the difficulty. Yeah. I think I played on normal, I think. But everyone did say you should play on easy, though, in the end. And so I suggest, if you do decide to do Witcher 2, start on easy.
We'll see. I own The Witcher 2, but I mean,
the controls were pretty complicated, but not bad to do.
It's
I
just
think they fixed it in the third one. They said they made it more welcoming because it wasn't bad. It was just difficult.
It's not. The only reason I wouldn't be interested in playing it is simply because I've heard these games are massive.
Yeah,
and I don't want to spend 100 hours playing a game essentially that I'm half interested in to play a game that I'm fully interested in. Like,
true.
Like The Witcher 3, obviously it's more modern. Obviously it's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. The game looks great.
Yeah.
Like, why would I play the inferior version if the entire time I'm just like, okay, only 90 more hours till I can play the better upgraded version of this game.
That's so true. Yeah.
So like that's what I'm getting at. Is like, if The Witcher 2 legitimately can still hold up today, and can offer just as much as The Witcher 3, then I have no issue playing The Witcher 2. But yeah. I mean, The Witcher 3 just looks beautiful.
It does. We're looking at photos right now of it.
So along with that kind of, before we sign off here, that kind of leads into our top 5 for next week. So I've been talking about The Witcher, and lately we've been doing where we're giving like cues as to what our top 5 is going to be a week in advance. If anyone's listening, it kind of gives you time to like figure out your own list and weigh things back and forth.
Because we would like to hear your own top 5 as well. I'm actually interested, and we'd like to if you want to put them in the comment section and all that stuff.
Definitely. So the top 5 for next week is top 5 games that you want to play but you've never been able to find time for.
I can tell you this much: The Witcher's gonna be on my list.
The Witcher?
Yeah, it's gonna be on my list.
It might be on mine. It looks really good.
It's just like I want to play it, but I just do not have the time for it.
Yeah, and yeah. So like, who doesn't have a Steam library that's just filled with games like this? Yeah. Like I wanted to play The Division. I've heard that game's actually looking pretty good now.
And I heard they fixed it up a lot. I heard that at first when it was at release, it was just complete shit, but they actually had a huge update that actually made the game fun.
Yeah, like good. I mean, screw the top 5. I could do like a top 50 at this point. Oh yeah.
No, as soon as you came up this idea, I'm like, yeah, I already got this in the bag.
Yeah. So no, we are gonna do a top 5, and top 5 games you want to play but you don't have the time for.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. Otherwise, was there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Honestly, no. Like we said, there wasn't much news at all for me to mention or care to talk about. So yeah, I think that will end it there.
Yeah, we were thinking about having a guest this episode, and we're still kind of in the works with that. We'll see if another episode we can figure something out or something.
We're a bit more worried about time filler, but we actually talked putting up in the end.
Yeah, but either way, we're gonna tweak things here and there, and just we're gonna try to always continue to be improving the podcast, just
for sure.
Working on it, making if this works, if that works, whatever. But yeah, otherwise we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, bye.
All right, see ya.